Hello and welcome to this little Spalluccipedia video. Another dip into the universe of my paranormal investigator Sam Spallucci and the world that surrounds him. And today we're going to be looking at the big bad. We're going to be looking at Kanor. Now, most universes, most stories of this type have some sort of big bad lurking in the shadow, and Sam's world is no different. We have this hooded figure who seems to come and taunt him every now and then, dangling him like some sort of little puppet on a string, feeding him little bits of information just to try and draw him in. And you get the feeling that Kanor is trying to, as it were, not wanting to use a slight overused trope, but pull Sam over to the dark side almost. He's there saying, yes, you believe this in your world, but this is what I see, and my way is better. So of course I brought around this divergence, which looks like hell on earth, but there are reasons for it. Reasons which, you can see if you just open your eyes. And every now and then you get the feeling that Sam is just drawn in a little bit, but then he pushes back. He says, no, that's not for me, that's not for me. I know that there must be good in there, in humanity, or even just for the sake that he doesn't want his strings being pulled. And this comes to us like semi-climax, the end of Troubled Souls. I know people out there won't have necessarily read that yet, so I'm not going to give any too many spoilers, but there is a confrontation, shall we say, at the end of Troubled Souls. But Kanor wends his merry way, and we know that Kanor is going to be back because we know that the divergence is going to happen. This event that is going to prevent, the convergence of heaven and earth. Basically, the divergence will prevent paradise. And we start to get little glimmers of why that is. Why would an individual want to stop heaven and earth combining? Why would you want to stop paradise? Why would you want to stop this perfect place? And say there's little breadcrumbs just starting to come through. But again, not going to give too many spoilers just yet. So, where did Kanor come from? Like a lot of my characters, they have origins in works which I wrote when I was younger. Sam, for example, had his background story in this little short story I wrote in the back of a chemistry lesson. Kanor's not much different. As a teenager, I was fascinated with the Anne Rice books. The vampires were fantastic. I just read Dracula, and that blew me away. And then progressed on to Salem's Lot from Stephen King, and then, like I just said, onto Anne Rice and the Vampire Chronicles. And the idea that the vampires could be out there almost like marshalling humans, picking off the evildoers. So I started writing this story called Claw the Vampire Hunter. And it was set in this post-apocalyptic world where something had happened. And humanity was very much a remnant. But there were these creatures called wraiths, which were stalking the land and basically causing chaos. And there's one solitary vampire left who was called Claw. And he was going around bumping off these wraiths. And the wraiths, as it happened, were actually in the employ of this big bad called Kanor Dracul. Yes, I took Dracul from Dracula. It was very original. I was a teenager. I make no apology of it. And the idea was that Claw was going to basically battle his way through all these wraiths, and eventually there was a big standoff between Claw and Kanor. Claw would win, order would be restored, and humanity would have a nice time of it afterwards. I never finished the stories. They got sort of like superseded by life and other things I was writing, especially when I sort of hit my 20s and Sam really started to come along. However, that doesn't mean they're not going to get finished, because they have themselves morphed into the Divergent Lands stories, which are going to take place after the events of Sam's casebooks, after the events of Fallen Angel and post-Divergence. And they will be centred around, again, this character Claw, I'm not going to, again, say exactly who he is. He is a vampire. Vampires do change their names. And his quest to take out Kanor, because Kanor will be ruling supreme. Now, Kanor's cropped up a few times so far in the books, most noticeably in the latest one, as of recording this video, Troubled Souls. But he is in some short stories. We have a little musing of his, I think it's in Morning Has Broken, where he's viewing his divergent lands and basically saying how good they are. But then in, oh dear, Hide Not Thou Thy Face, which is due out this Christmas, again at time of recording, we have the story called The Virtuous Man, which is reference to the prophecy that the virtuous man is the person who's supposed to be able to kill Kanor. And so, of course, Kanor crops up in that and has quite a bit of fun. There are other short stories he's in. I can't, again, spoilers. He's really there for you to spot, because Kanor is this hooded, he's this shadowed character. And there are hints as to his identity through the sandbox and through the short stories. So again, it's those little breadcrumbs. And what I'd encourage the reader to do is see if you can find them. Do a little bit of Hansel and Gretel. Follow them off into the wilderness, off into the woods. See what lurks in the shadows. And see if you can actually work out his identity. Have fun.